UFC 314, man, it absolutely delivered, fellas. It was a great card from top to bottom, lots of finishes, entertaining action, lots of statements made, and a lot of divisions have been shaken up, and there's a lot of fights to make next now, man, and Volkanovski is so back. I was rooting for him hard. It was scary as fuck, especially when Lopes had him. We'll talk about it, okay? These are the fights I'd be making next after UFC 314. We're going to be playing matchmaker a little bit here, all right? Covering a couple of fighters off the prelims, but mostly focusing on the main card here because it was stacked. And like I said, a lot of shit got shaken up. There was a lot of fucking great performances, but they ended up just giving the bonuses to the millionaires. It is what it is. Hey, it is what it is, brother. You know, we'll find out Saturday night. But I guess speaking of Holloway, speaking of Volk, whatever the fuck, let's just talk about it, all right? The main event, Volkanovski taking out Lopes. What are we going to do with each of these guys, respectively? The script is kind of writing itself here. I'm not going to lie, all right? WWE couldn't make a better fucking storyline than this, okay? Volkanovski finishing the story, all right? Cody Rhodes type shit. One of the greatest comebacks in UFC history. And I mean, for as much as I'm a huge Volk fan, for as much as he's my favorite fighter, and I was really fucking rooting for him hard, all right? I was scared for it, you know what I mean? And I think it was said a lot. If he did lose this fight, I mean, it was going to be a retirement for him. But if he was able to win, if he was able to get it done, break the curse and just go against everything, you know, breaking the Drake curse, breaking the 35-year-old curse, breaking the Prime curse, whatever the fuck. A lot of the odds were against Volkanovski. Everybody was questioning the chin. That really was the key factor here. I mean, we saw it in the fucking fight. If it was the chin that he kind of had going against off the couch, tubby Volk, you know, taking on Makhachev, or quick turnaround against Topuria, nothing wrong with the power of Topuria or Makhachev, but it's like, you don't know, man. Lopes could have just completely taken him out right there. Lopes is fucking good and dangerous in general, and he looked good in this fight. Some people thought he won, and a lot of people were fucking saying, oh, you know, Volk ran away in the fucking last round. He's a bitch. And it's just like, if you're up 4 rounds, arguably 4 rounds, and then you're taking on a guy who could easily take out your lights, has the power and the skills to do it in that last 5 minutes, even in the last 10 seconds, dude, nothing wrong with Volk playing a little bit of defense. And even then, he was still getting into exchanges with Lopes. It's not like he was completely running away or whatever the fuck. It was a great win for Volkanovski. This does massive things for his fucking legacy. Like, Volkanovski's genuinely, I already kind of had him maybe as like a top 5, top 6 fighter of all time. Dude, he's really right there for top 3 at this point. Bias or no bias or whatever the fuck, especially if he beats Evloev, who really nice fucking Fantano of a transition here, but Evloev versus Volk is just clearly the fight to make next, man. Like I was saying earlier, like the script just writing itself. Like, Evloev is just kind of clearly next for Volk, and Lopes has a clear next opponent that we'll get to as well. So everything is kind of just shaping up really well for the featherweight division. We also had obviously Silva versus Mitchell. So the featherweight division, we also had Iga and the prelim. Like, the featherweight's got a lot of love on this card, you know what I mean? So a lot of possible things we could do here, but at least at the very top of the division, it seems like this just is the fucking thing to do here. You know what I mean? For those that are pretty, you know, watching the channel consistently or whatever the fuck, appreciate y'all. But for those that are watching, like, you guys know, I'm not a big Evloev fan. Like, I think his last few fights have actually been pretty fun, you know, against Allen, Sterling, Lopes, shit like that. But in general, I'm not a big fan of the guy. I think he would be a nightmare of a champion for the division. But honestly, his skill set is underrated as fuck. He's got good wrestling, and he's got underrated striking, and he's on a great fucking win streak right now. Say whatever the fuck you want about it, or the guy's a decision merchant, boring as fuck, blah, blah, blah. He's got a fucking Minecraft leather helmet of a bowl cut. Whatever the fuck you want to say about Evloev, he's skilled as fuck, you know what I mean? And I'm not a great fan of the guy, and I really hope this guy doesn't become champion, especially if he's beating fucking Volkanovski of all things. Not only is he breaking hearts, but he's going to be breaking the division, all right? He's going to be breaking records for the lowest pay-per-view sales. And again, the guy does clearly deserve it, though, okay? I could joke all I want about how the guy's a decision merchant or whatever the fuck, but he's skilled as fuck. He's clearly next in line. There's no other contender that just has deserved it as much as Evloev for this division. I mean, they were going to give him Aaron Pico, but he shut that down, and as he should, you know what I mean? Like, anyone saying, oh, you know, Evloev's a fucking bitch, you know, he doesn't want any of the smoke from Aaron Pico, he doesn't deserve the title shot. I mean, fuck that, dude. If you're already beating, like, former champions and top 5 guys and shit like that, it's like, you know, say whatever you want about the excitement levels of it, but in terms of the skill set, Evloev does deserve it, and hopefully Volk can get it done. He looked great against Lopes. I would have also been interested to see a Lopes versus Evloev rematch, but I like how things are kind of playing out here, man. Evloev has the skills to beat Volk. I genuinely don't. I picked Volk going against Lopes, but again, I was very it was a scary pick, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I really don't have a pick right now for Volk versus Evloev. I can genuinely see Evloev beating Volk. A lot of these daggies, man, a lot of the guys from that fucking region of the world on these big win streaks that get a lot of shit from fans. You see it with Marab, you see it with Big Ang, you see it with Bilal, you see it with a lot of guys in general, all right? And they haven't lost yet, okay? And if they do, maybe the occasional Umar Nurmagomedov. But who beat Umar? Another day. It's Marab, all right? It's Marab. It's a fucking Georgian. He's right down the fucking road. So I'm just saying, man, these guys, when they get these fucking title shots, usually they're winning. But honestly, seeing how good Volkanovski looked against Lopes, and I mean, again, like a 4-1 performance, you could say. You know what I mean? Or a 5, however you want to score it. Volkanovski won the damn fight and survived against Lopez's most dangerous moments for him. So Volkanovski is looking arguably, I don't want to say better than ever, but he's right up there, man. I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, you know, Prime Volk. I don't know why I keep doing the Australian accent. I don't want to be that guy that's like, Prime Volk is fucking back, baby. Yeah, like he's going to go on a fucking generational run and blah, blah, blah. Like, Volk is at that stage in his career where he's looking great. Like I said earlier, he's kind of established himself as, you could argue, a top 3 fighter of all fucking time, man. Let's fucking go, dude. I'm saying this out loud. I'm so happy everything played out this way as a Volk fan. God fucking damn it. Let's go. But we'll have to see if Volk can really just kind of continue this run, because again, he is beatable. Like, it's a great win over Lopes, you know what I mean? But he did lose to Makhachev via decision, and then Tubby Volk lost to, you know, the quick turnaround, and then Poirier knocked him out. So at the end of the day, for as good as Volk is, and he made a huge fucking statement at 314, I do think that he is beatable, and he should, you know, we got to be worried here, fellas. Let's hope that this run keeps on going. It's giving me like that Dominic, I don't know if I'm the only one here. Maybe I'm shooting random shit here, but it's like that Dominic Cruz kind of comeback S5 when he was kind of just going and he would fought in like the early of the year, the middle of the year, and then the end of the year. I think that's what Volk is aiming to do. Some comeback, you know, trying to just be consistent, be active, taking on the top guys. But he could be beatable here. You know what I mean? It might just be an age thing or a father time thing that takes out Volk. Because again, skill-wise, he looked fantastic against Lopes. Lopes looked good as well. He had moments, but at the end of the day, Evloev is the guy that fucking beat Lopes. Granted, short notice or not, he's clearly fucking next. And yeah, it's the fight to fucking make. Maybe August, September, you know what I mean? Maybe August as like a co-main for Pereira versus Ankalaev, or September, it could be a headliner for the Mexico card, but at the end, or the Noche UFC, whatever the fuck they're doing it or where they're doing it, I don't know. But at the end of the day, transition into that. What are we going to put on that September card, right? We're talking about they're going to go another Noche UFC. They're going to be doing a big Mexican theme. They want to have big Mexican fighters that are going to be representing it. But we don't have too many right now in the very upper echelon, like a lot near the title picture. So Lopes versus Yair, especially with the fucking hype it has right now, I think is the fight to make. You could do it as a featured fight for the card and it'd be fucking perfect. Even you could maybe do a co-main, but I'm hoping that the card would be a little bit more stacked to where this doesn't have to be a co-main, because it's a great fight, but you got to think if this fight didn't have so much interest after the 314 went down in the press conference, and now we're finding out so much storyline and build up here, and there's beef between the camps and the coaches and these guys, it's fucking, you know, I've never really seen Lopes not make this fucking face, y'all. Just happy to be here. Just fucking happy to be here. You know what I mean? The guy works fucking hard. He fights anybody. He's active as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, Lopes, it's simple, but it's fucking sweet. You know what you're getting. And I've never seen him just not make this face. It's the same shit. But when he just started getting the fuck after it against Yair, am I the only one that was like, I'm turning my head. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's just crazy to see him just kind of like talk his shit and just be on the fucking offensive end, not inside the cage. You know what I'm saying? So this is a fight that before, I mean, look at it. This was being in the talks like a month or two ago, and people completely shit on the idea of it. Me included. I wasn't a fan of it. But now that Yair has a win, looked good against Pitbull, and now that Lopes, you know what I mean, coming off a loss, did make it competitive, but he is coming off a pretty definitive loss here. It makes perfect sense. It's two guys in the top 5. Yair's got momentum. Lopes, even despite the loss, is still going to be able to ride some high. And just with the beef in general, like, this is a fight you could build up. It'd be great to fucking have on a pay-per-view. Again, I'm hoping it could be a little bit more stacked to where this isn't a 5-round co-main, you know what I mean? Because it's not like these guys are like, it's not like a Dustin Poirier or a Gaethje and you fill these guys, or a Pimblett even, you fill these guys in these slots nowadays. You know what I mean? This is a very high-stakes matchup. Stylistically, it's a fucking dream. Both these guys are entertaining as fuck. I know that the fight against Pitbull for Yair was very impressive. He completely fucking I mean, clearly won. I mean, the only key moment Pitbull really had was the takedown at the end of the first round. But other than that, it was Yair completely kind of just piecing him up. Obviously, we know how dangerous the leg kicks are, and just in general, like Rodriguez is such a dangerous kicker. You know what I mean? Yair, say whatever you want about it being an older Pitbull or whatever the fuck. It was a good win, and there were genuinely a lot of people that were going with Pitbull, and he was, even though he was like a slight underdog. I had Yair winning it. I kind of thought that this was going to be where the Bellator guys just kind of, Askren won, and then Chandler won, and then fucking MVP won. And I thought that if there was going to be anyone that it finally breaks the streak, it was going to be fucking Pitbull here, man. Like, Yair's in his fucking prime. He fights like once a year, so he's going to show up when he does. And Pitbull, I don't know what to do with him. I don't have a fight for him booked here, man, but I don't know what you do with him. I know some people are saying book him against Chandler or some shit like that, but I don't know what weight class he wants to do or whatever the fuck. I don't know what you do with Pitbull. And say whatever you want about him, but he was 1-2 in his last 3 coming into this one, and I think 2 or 3 years ago he could have gotten the win here, but Yair looked good. I don't want to take anything away from Yair's win. It's still Pitbull. It's still a guy with a lot of experience who was dangerous. I know that, again, on the latter end of his career, but it's still a good win for Yair, kind of maintaining that spot. And let's see an active Yair. Let's see this shit. Lopes, we already know how active as fuck he is. Like, he did take some damage here in this fight against Volk, but we've seen how active Lopes is, man. Even after a 5-round kind of war here, I think September is a perfect fucking turnaround. I mean, I have a college fucking degree, so pardon me for having to count using my fucking fingers here. But what is it right now? It's April, so we got May, June, July, August, September. All right, it's like 4 or 5 months. For Lopes, that's a fucking cakewalk of a turnaround. For Rodriguez, it's pushing it, but like there's crazier turnarounds. I think it's reasonable. It makes perfect fucking sense. Like Lopes is, he's representing Mexico, and Yair has a problem with that. So let's do it on a Mexico card. Like, let's fucking find out, man. Stylistically, it's a fantastic fight. I feel like it would end in a finish. I feel like it'd be a fucking war. And it's exciting. It's a draw. There's a storyline here. So let's fucking see it. Perfect featured fight slot. So moving on up next now, man, to what are you going to do with Paddy the fucking Baddy? Okay. All right. I have never been more frustrated with a pick. And I'm not exaggerating here. I've never been more fucking I can't even talk. I've never been more frustrated with a pick than picking Chandler over Pimblett. For weeks and weeks and weeks, I was like, dude, Pimblett's going to win. Pimblett's going to win. Chandler is he's fucking on the tail end of his career. He's a fucking walking punching bag who has a mean right hook, and it's fucking crazy. And it's just like, he can catch you, but I thought Pimblett had it in the bag. He's very underrated. I thought he had the means to do it. I thought he can get a submission or a decision or whatever the fuck. And then the day I made my fucking predictions video, I was at work, all right? I'm doing my thing. I'm at work. I'm fucking driving, all right? And then I'm just listening. I won't say who the YouTuber was, all right? I don't listen to a lot of MMA YouTubers, but a certain somebody, all right? I got convinced to go with Chandler, all right? There was something in my brain and my gut that was so uncomfortable with it, but I just said fuck it because on paper I got convinced. So I made the video, went with Chandler, and the next few days I was just like, dude, Paddy's gonna fucking win, bro. You're an idiot. I just knew and know how good Paddy is. He's aiming for a big fight now. He completely just put himself on the map. If he wasn't already making a big statement with the "God damn it, Bobby Green" performance before, now he's completely just kind of cemented himself, and he's gonna get a big fucking fight next. He's gonna get a fucking Oliveira, a Gaethje, a Saryukian, a Holloway, a Poirier, a Topuria. Like, these are gonna be his next fights. He could do so many things with Paddy. I see a lot of people talking about the Oliveira fight, but I'm gonna say Paddy versus Gaethje is the move here. I feel like Gaethje's in kind of a bubble where you don't know what the fuck to do with him. You can't really give him a title shot, but there's so many rematches for him and a bunch of shit. I think Paddy versus Gaethje, even though Paddy versus Oliveira sounds fucking fun, I think Oliveira should be fighting Topuria, to be honest. I think that should be kind of the clear number one contender fight. If they're not going to do Saryukin, all right, let's do Topuria versus Oliveira for the number one contender fight. I already know that they were talking about doing that anyways, or there was leaks. Paddy versus Gaethje. Gaethje's in a weird fucking bubble. You don't know what to do with him. It sucks because now Poirier, like, what do you do with Poirier? But I'm sure they could figure out fucking something. I know he wants a legend. Poirier might not get a legend, to be honest with you. Seeing how a lot of these guys at lightweight, they keep kind of fucking, the division is just shifting, man. And people are moving on, and they're either winning or losing, and Poirier's getting further kind of out of the equation. Paddy versus Gaethje makes sense. All right, Gaethje's coming off of a win. He's won his last 3 out of 4. All right, besides the big bad exhibition match. All right, it was a fluke. It was a banana peel. All right, it was a banana peel of a 49-46. Paddy versus Gaethje, it makes sense. Seeing how good Paddy looked on the feet, seeing how mean the ground and pound was. I mean, dude, he was busting up Chandler like a motherfucker. Thank God the 12 and 6 elbows are back, right? That was brutal as fuck. It was disgustingly amazing to goddamn watch, all right? And I mean, Chandler didn't even have a fucking chance, I don't think, to cheat in this fight. Paddy was whooping him, man. And like I said, even though Chandler had a couple of moments, Paddy just completely dealt with any adversity, man. You know what I mean? Like, on the ground, he was dangerous. On the feet, he was dangerous. The ground and pound was looking mean. He looked like he had cardio for days. He was looking fresh, all right? The fight IQ was there. He was managing to be in the pocket and take Chandler's big shots, but also avoid really dangerous situations and the retardism of Michael Chandler. So if he can do all that, I think a matchup versus Gaethje is really fucking intriguing, because Gaethje has, I'd say, better power, clearly better fight IQ, better striking, you know what I mean? He's just a more perfected Michael Chandler, to be honest with you. If Chandler fought with fight IQ and just had a more perfected skill set, or was just in a better point in his career, better experience, I think that is just fucking Justin Gaethje, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I think that Paddy versus Gaethje makes sense, man. Looking at where both these guys are at, Paddy's gonna get a big fight regardless, and he fucking deserves it. He really put himself on the map. I hate myself for picking Chandler. I will never pick Chandler again, whoever the fuck they give him. I think Paddy versus Gaethje makes sense. Where Gaethje's at in his career, I know Gaethje's gonna be hesitant for this. I know he's gonna want like someone that can give him a title shot, and I don't think a win over Paddy is going to do that. So I could see Gaethje not want to take this fight, but there's too much going on right now in the upper echelon of lightweight, or just lightweight in general, man. The division's moving forward. And Gaethje, at the end of the day, he got smoked by Holloway. And I get that he looked great against Fiziev, but we've seen that before. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the shit's just moving on here. You know what I mean? So, Paddy versus Gaethje, I think that's what you should do next. What do you do with Chandler? I'm going to make this one fucking quick here. I cannot stand the thought of Michael Chandler right now, all right? Chandler versus the winner of Joel Alvarez and Benoit Saint-Denis. I think that that's what you should do, man. You could do Chandler versus Faraz Sayyam. You could do Chandler versus Grant Dawson. I mean, you could do Chandler versus, I don't even know, Moicano. Chandler versus Moicano. But I don't know. I want to see Chandler I think he should fight down. That's why I really don't think he should fight like a Moicano or something like that. Like, I think, I understand he did technically fight down fighting Paddy Pimblett here, but it was still a big co-main spot. It was still a guy who has a lot of hype and is a big UFC star boy like Paddy Pimblett. Chandler still got that. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he got fucking whooped. He's had a lot of entertainment he's put on for the fans. So shout out him for that. I respect it, all right? But at the end of the day, man, you can't deny he's had Dana White privilege. He's gotten a lot of opportunities that a lot of guys don't fucking get for some godforsaken reason, all right? Chandler he really shot himself in the foot with taking off 2 years with Conor McGregor. Like, that really fucked up any chance, I feel like, of him just really beating guys like Pimblett and shit like that, man. Like, 2 years ago, Chandler couldn't have got it done. I said that in my predictions. But at the end of the fucking day, man, Pimblett is just that guy. The new generation's coming in. He had all the skills, technically, to do it. He just needed a guy like Chandler to bring it out. And Chandler's just on the tail end of his career, man. And we can't give him another big fight, all right? And he's got to kind of earn his way back to that point, man. He's 1-5 in his last 6 fights. And the UFC record in general, it's impressive what he did against Ferguson and Hooker, but in the grand scheme of things, all right, Chandler's UFC career has been not fucking great, okay? And he has to fight down. He's got to fight somebody at least on the border of the rankings or outside of it, man. And Joel Alvarez isn't even in the rankings right now. BSD is barely clinging on to it. If BSD beats Alvarez, he's earned his spot in the rankings of keeping it. And if Alvarez wins, he has a lot of hype behind him right now. Dangerous as fucking all regards. Very well-rounded. Huge prospect, especially for Spain, all right? This is a big deal for them. And just the lightweight division in general. Joel Alvarez is a dangerous prospect and one of the most hyped up ones that the division has right now. So it would make sense. Chandler would fight a guy who would be like 13 or 14 in the rankings and would, if BSD, he can get some hype, and he's been in big spots before. So BSD's a recognizable name, especially if you're kind of like a hardcore or a French fan, some shit like that, or you watch the fight against Poirier, you can go, oh, like that's you know what I mean? It's easy to fucking book it. And Alvarez at that point, like, what? Chandler's going to be still in the top 10 even after this. He'll still be like maybe like 9 or 10. So I think that you should fucking do, Chandler defending his top 10 spot, you know what I mean? Give it to somebody who's either outside the rankings, like a Faraz Sayyam or Ludovic Klein. Like, there's a shit ton of prospects right now in the rankings in general, or lingering outside of it for lightweight, you know what I mean? Like I said, Grant Dawson, very underrated. You can give the Chandler fight to him, but my whole point with this, Chandler can't fight in the top 10. The Moicano fight would be fun. You could do shit versus like Gamrot, but it's just, we can't do this anymore. All right, I'm sorry to Chandler, but I'm also fucking not, man. Wins are just, it's just part of it, man. Chandler has not had many in the UFC, despite only facing really upper, very elite competition for the most part. I mean, or really all of it, to be honest. But Still, man. Yeah, let's give him Joel Alvarez or Benoit Saint-Denis, whoever wins that one in May. So, moving on up next, man, to what are you going to do with Gene Silva, man? This is a tough one. So many fucking things you could do with Gene Silva. I was very hesitant between picking Silva or Bryce Mitchell, but I ended up going with Silva, thank fucking God, because Mitchell did look solid in the first round, but man, he got fucking shut down in the second round, all right? And was pretty unsuccessful overall with the takedowns. He did get a couple, I believe, but in general, like, Silva, just the improvements were so there. The takedown defense, the defensive grappling in general, like, and again, submitting Bryce Mitchell of all fucking things. I don't think a lot of people were fucking guessing that. And he just looked comfortable in those exchanges, in those scrambles, and just with the defense. And just Silva had him in some dangerous fucking spots. And by the time the second round hit, man, it was just fucking over. And Silva just completely showed, like, these fighting nerds, man, they're fucking prepping them. Like, not only can they just knock dudes out, and Rufi and Prates, and now you have a guy like Silva. You know, we know how well-rounded Baraujo is, you know what I mean? Not the biggest finisher, but we know how skilled he is in all regards. But these other guys, these other three I just mentioned, these other three of the four horsemen of the fighting nerds, you know, we really don't see too much of the grappling. It's been a big question mark. And Bryce Mitchell, say whatever you want, I don't think he's like a top 3 grappler for the featherweight division. I don't think he's one of the very, very best, but he's still good. That's his bread and fucking butter. And for Gene Silva to just fuck him up in all regards in this fight, man, like, don't get me wrong, Mitchell held in there for a little bit in the early on, but I don't know, man. Silva he's fucking legit. He's separating himself right now from just a prospect to now, okay, this guy's in the rankings. We got to give him somebody in the top 10 next. And at first, like, I was thinking, should we give him Jakazi Onama, the winner of that? Should we give him Josh Emmett? Like, should we give him a fucking Yusuf Salal? I was like, you could do so much with Silva, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of people want to see somebody in between that top 6 and top 10 spot, and I think that's pretty fair. I think you should do Brian Ortega, okay? You could also do Arnold Allen. You could also do Lerone Murphy, bruv, the 80-year-old prospect, bruv. But I think Allen, you could do maybe someone else with. I think easily could be an option here. Would be a great fucking scrap. And I think you could do Lerone Murphy, but my fear is, you know, you're doing Lerone Murphy and Gene Silva, who are technically the two of the division's biggest, hottest prospects, so, or just the most successful right now. I mean, you can't really call Evloev and Lopes, even though they're young guys. They're really, like, in the upper echelon. You can't really call them prospects nowadays. So it's like Murphy and Silva are paving the way in that regard. And if Murphy, you know, who's more so on the boring end of things than fucking exciting, if you have him shut down the hype of Silva, yeah, it's a good win for Murphy and good experience for Silva, but I don't know if they would want to do that, man. So at the end of the day, I think Silva, give him Brian Ortega. He's ranked number 6. Again, the Arnold Allen fight is also fucking great, ranked number 7, but with how good Silva looked just in the grappling departments here, I think that it's pretty fair to give him a test like Ortega, because I wanted to do something like, what's the most unpredictable fight you can give to Silva, but you could also really see him winning it? I think that's Brian Ortega. Like, I want to fight with Silva where you could see him knocking the guy out, you could see him winning it. It's an opponent who could, you know, it could be an exciting scrap. You could throw it on a fucking pay-per-view or a fight night main event. Let's give it a crowd night fight, or a crowded fight night main event. That'd be perfect. Really put Silva on the spot and really just kind of, you know, maintain the stock of the guy who's defending their spot in the rankings. So I think Silva in a crowded fucking arena, I don't know, Brazil, somewhere in the States, somewhere like that, I don't fucking know. They're really making crowded fight nights relevant again, so shout out to the UFC for that. And despite all these ups and down times, I appreciate them for that. So let's put Silva in it, man. Like, he's gaining a lot of hype right now. I think Ortega could give him some problems on the ground. I think even on the feet, Ortega, he'll get caught, he'll get dropped, but I think his chin is still fucking good. I mean, even though Lopes did that to him and other guys as well, like, he still is able to kind of go to the distance. It's really hard to finish Ortega. So Silva could do it. He has the power to do it. He has the skill set to do it, especially with the improvements we're seeing in such a short time. I think it makes a lot of sense, man. It makes sense for Ortega to defend his spot, but if Ortega is going to decline this fight, you know what? Instead of just doing Brian Ortega, I'm going to change it. You're going to already see it on your screen by now. Let's do Ortega or Allen. I feel like you could do fucking either or here, to be honest with you, man. Like, I could see it. Let's just do Silva versus Ortega or Allen. Either one makes perfect fucking sense. Both of them would be really fun fights in different ways. I think Allen could make it a fucking barn burner. I think Ortega could bring a lot of problems in terms of just the experience, the cardio, how good his ground game is, how dangerous and sneaky his fucking ground game is with Ortega. Either one's a good fight. fight, and Allen's ranked 7, Ortega's ranked 6. Silva's going to be ranked fucking number 12 or 13 in the rankings, so it makes sense. Let's give him a step up here. He's earned it. He has the fucking hype, and this new generation's taking over, man. The fighting nerds are fucking dangerous because Mitchell, man, is solid. He's only losing to a brutal, devastating knockout of the year like Josh Emmett, and he's losing to a guy who is talented as fuck and well-rounded as fucking dangerous as fuck and elite like Ilia Topuria. So if you're beating Mitchell, you're fucking good or you got some crazy power. So, and Silva's a guy who apparently has both, so let's test him. I think that he has a good chance of beating Ortega or Allen, but I think that Allen and Ortega are good enough and experienced enough to where they could beat Silva. Let's fucking see it. So moving on up next, man, what are we gonna do with Dan Ige, another one of the featherweights here, man? I was gonna say do Dan Ige versus Steve Garcia, but then I heard they're trying to rebook Edson Barboza versus Garcia, which is great. I love that. I thought it was a good fight in general. Let's fucking see it. I think you should do Dan Ige versus Doo Ho Choi. You could also do Aaron Pico, or maybe you could do somebody in the rankings for Dan Ige. I don't know. There's options for Ige. He's in a weird spot. He's ranked 14 or 15, and he's 7-1 against unranked guys, but he's like 1 and something or 0 and something. Like, it's not good against ranked guys. So he is the clear definition of a guy who is a good fucking fighter. He's well-rounded and has power, but he is just, it's a gatekeeper situation. He's losing to all these ranked guys, but he's beating every unranked guy for the most part. So let's kind of keep it going. I want to see Ige just kind of, let's just not keep doing this where we give him ranked guy, unranked guy, so he wins. Ranked guy, unranked guy, so he wins. Like, let's kind of get some wins for Ige, but also somebody who can be a challenge for him. And I think Doo Ho Choi is that. He's coming off of a great fucking marauder of a win from UFC 310 over Nate Landwehr. That was a great win, and I had Landwehr winning that fight. So Choi surprised me, man, you know what I mean? And just had a lot of time off, and then had a fucking draw or whatever the fuck it was against Kyle Nelson or whoever the fuck it was. I'm blanking on it. But 2024, man, he looked great. And it's just like he looked fully just kind of back and in his prime. And it's just like, or he looks like he's just in his fucking prime right now. I mean, the dude is fucking young. I mean, let's do the Superboy versus Ige, man. I mean, it's a guy who, I mean, like I just said, looked good in 2024, has a good 2-fight win streak right now, and it's just like coming both off a knockout or TKO, and it's just like, let's see against a guy like Ige who's very, very durable, very hard to finish. Like, yes, he can get cracked, yes, he's hittable, and yes, he's very beatable, but at the end of the day, he's good enough and just so durable and has just a monster fucking chin to the point where it's like, I feel like it'd be a great scrap, right? We can get a win for Ige here, but if Ige, like, he also, again, he can lose here. Like, let's fucking see it, though, you know what I mean? Let's not just throw Ige right back to the Wolves. I know he's good, and he's a guy who you can really rely on to put in an exciting fight or kind of just be there, show up, short notice or not, take on any comer. You can really rely on Ige. He's a company fucking man, all right? He's best for business, as some might fucking say. But at the end of the day, Ige versus Doo Ho Choi is a fight where I think it's the best kind of unranked guy you could give Ige. And Doo Ho Choi, you could argue he kind of could earn a spot in the rankings. Granted, there's other prospects you could argue deserve it more, but I think they're doing their own thing. Like I said, Steve Garcia's taking on Barboza apparently, so you know what I mean? And also, I feel like it would just be a great fight. I feel like it'd be pretty fucking fun. Like, does Doo Ho Choi have the power, the striking, the momentum to take out Ige? You know what I mean? Because Ige is well-rounded and he's fucking durable. So moving on up next, man, to Dominic Reyes. What are we gonna do with him? Listen, I had Krylov winning. And he was the last leg in my parlay, bro. I had a nice parlay going, all right? Krylov was the last leg I needed, and he fucking lost. Got knocked out, okay? But here's the thing. Not only was I shocked, okay, but I was also just, how upset can you be? Because how can you not just be happy for Dominic Reyes? He's on a 3-fight win streak, all by knockout or TKO. And he's like, yeah, beating Anthony Smith was a bit underwhelming. And yeah, the whole thing against Dustin Jacoby was fantastic, great hype, but not the highest caliber of opponent. Still a good win. But at the end of the day, man, Krylov is a good fucking win. A legit win. Again, nothing wrong with beating Smith or Jacoby. Those are both solid wins in their own right, but Krylov is that step above, man. And you can officially say now, like, Reyes is fucking back. If he wasn't back before, he's fucking back now, man. And he's looking better than ever. We're seeing fucking improvements. He can fucking take it. He can hang in the pocket. His chin is back. He's looking dangerous. He's got some mean striking. Let's give him a guy who's in that top 6 or 7. Like, and I think it should be Alexander Rakic, man. Let's do Reyes versus Rakic. It's a fresh matchup. Blachowicz coming off a loss. I don't know if he's going to retire or do whatever the fuck. He's at just kind of this older point in his career. Not sure what to do with him, okay? Roundtree versus Jamal Hill just got rebooked. Prochazka versus Olberg's going to be next. And Pereira versus Big Ank's being rebooked as a rematch. The only opponent that's really left, the only opponent who's kind of in that top 7 now, because Reyes is going to be at number 8. Let's fucking go, man. How upset could I even be, dude? I'm so happy for Reyes, man. It's a crazy fucking comeback. Look at all these comebacks, man. Piotr Jan, Alexander Volkanovski, Yuri Prochazka, now this. I love it, man. Let's see the baby faces win, dude. But yeah, the only guy that isn't really booked right now or has something going on besides Blachowicz in that top 8 is going to be Alexander Rakic. It's a fight that's winnable for Rakic, you know what I mean? Especially now that he's finally switching to a new camp after they kind of fucked him over for the Big Ank fight. And, you know, Rakic is a guy who has a lot of talent, you know what I mean? And he is skilled. He looked like the best fucking light heavyweight on earth against Prochazka in that first round. But you're also kind of questioning half the time, like, how did he get in the top 5 again? Like, why is he still in the top 5 again? I mean, granted, he's at 6 now, but it's just like, when was the last really big Rakic win, man? Or when was the last, like, big Rakic statement? Like, you haven't really seen it for a long time, and I think that it's a winnable fight for Reyes. It's a winnable fight for Rakic. Rakic defending that spot. I mean, he's not the most active fighter in general. And again, I'm curious to see how this changing of a new camp is going to do for him, because he has all the tools to either move to heavyweight and make a good run, or, you know, if he really sharpens up the skill set or applies the right fight IQ and a good team behind him, he could do wonders at light heavyweight. But there's just, you don't really see it with Rakic. He is very beatable. So I think it's a good fight. It makes sense for both guys, winnable for both guys. And I think it'd be a good fun scrap. I think it'd be a battle on the feet here that would kind of has a good chance to end it in a finish, especially seeing the fucking sick knockout streak in 2025, baby, that Dominic Reyes is on. So I think you should book it. Moving on up next now, man. I mean, not too much to say about this one. What would I do with Nikita Krylov? Give him Bogdan Guskov. It's a guy who's ranked number 13 right now. I mean, coming off of a solid win. I mean, a very questionable win, whatever the fuck. The win that he got at UFC 311 against the short notice opponent, I forgot whoever his name was, had him in some tricky waters in the first round, okay? It was very fucking scary. It was going to be the upset of all time, but, you know, Guskov came around in that second round and showed why he, you know, is on a good win streak, showed why he is in the rankings, and I think he's a guy with a bit of an odd style, you know what I mean? Very, like, you see it out of a Rocky movie kind of style, but it's a guy who is dangerous, and he is good, nice boxing, and he's got a fucking sick power, and I think that you should book him against Krylov, because Krylov, I understand he just got fucking knocked out, but he is still good in my opinion. I think Reyes is just on a roll, so Krylov, still skilled. I think he's still going to want an opponent that's kind of like just somewhere in the fucking rankings, so I think Guskov, you know, like I said, he's ranked at 13 right now. Krylov's going to be ranked at like 9 or 10, so it makes sense, and they're probably going to be on like a similar schedule, wanting to fight maybe like October, November, December. So moving on to the last fight we got here, man. Chase the Dream Hooper, man. Now, this is a fight I had to watch back. I had originally missed it, but Hooper looked good, man. I don't think it was like the definitive statement that he wanted to put on, but honestly, it was an underratedly pretty fun fight to watch. Like, the scrambles were pretty entertaining. Like, Hooper looked fucking good. Miller, we all know that he could show up. Like, he didn't have a ton of fantastic fucking moments or anything like that. I mean, you know, Hooper won the fight definitively. He was just the younger, stronger guy here, and is just on a fucking roll and has a solid win streak going, man. But Jim Miller was his toughest test yet on paper, and the fight ended up being fucking solid. Surprised the UFC didn't give a little shout out to Hooper on Instagram or whatever the fuck, but Hooper is on a good fucking win streak, man. Deserves some shout out. I understand, again, I think we thought that he was gonna go out there and just completely smoke Miller, get a nice submission win, someone like that. It would have been, you could argue, one of the safer fights to not go the distance, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I still think Hooper, it's a good win for him. I think that he's got a good win streak going, man. It's a 5-fight win streak, and he's beating guys like Clay Guida, Jordan Levitt. He's fucking up Borshev, and it's just now you have Jim Miller, and it's like he's moving up in competition step by step. And I just think that up next, who should you give him? Who's the guy that you can give Chase Hooper who is just like right outside of the rankings? The guy who may be one fight away as well. Because Chase is as well. With how stacked lightweight is, I feel like you can't just give him a ranked fight right now. I just don't know what you would do with him. Like, lightweight's kind of busy right now, kind of in all regards, and there's a lot of shit moving pretty quick. So Hooper just needs, I feel like, one more fight to kind of earn a spot in the rankings, or at least get a test against it. Who should he fight who's also in a similar position? I think you should do Matus Rebecki, man. I think that he's coming off a great win over Urabai, you know what I mean? Like, it's a guy who, he is beatable. I know he just lost pretty relatively quick right before that, but at the end of the day, he wasn't losing at all before that. You know what I mean? So again, even though he got fucked up by Ferreira, before that though, was having a good win streak. He's got a 20-2 record overall. So it's just like, it's a guy, and again, had a war against Orobai, one of the most fun fights of the year, and one of the most fun rounds of all time. If that third round I believe, like, sick as fuck, man. So Rebecki, he hasn't fought yet this year, not really in any talks, I believe. He might have some book, but I don't think he does right now. So if not, I think that Chase Hooper would be the move. Hooper's one fight away from earning a shot in the rankings. I think Rebecki, you could argue, is the same thing. So Rebecki's a guy who could rack up finishes. He's dangerous as fuck, solidly well-rounded. Again, coming off of a war against Orobai, who, again, was a good prospect as well. Like, these prospects are just duking it out, man. It is dangerous, and it is scary, and it's fucking tight to earn a spot in the rankings. But that just goes to show how elite this division is and how elite competition is nowadays, man. Hooper versus Rebecki would be a barn burner. I think it'd be a really fun fight. I feel like it would end in either a war or a finish. So let's see it. And after that, give it somebody in the rankings. So that is gonna be it here, man. It was a fantastic card, UFC 314. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it as much as I fucking did, man. So Volkanovski's back. Love to see it. Hope you guys enjoyed your joints. Hope you guys enjoyed your drinks. Hope you guys enjoyed time with the fellas or time by yourself enjoying the goddamn fights, man. So thank you so very much for making it this far in the video, man. Leave your opinions in the comments below. Which matchups do you want to see made next? What do you think of the ones I cooked up? Let me fucking know. And in general, man, if you guys could help me get to 1,000 subs, I'd really fucking appreciate it. But regardless, appreciate y'all in general, man, for making it this far. So Uncle Smoke here, all the smoke here, man. Appreciate y'all a lot for making this far. Have a good time. I know we don't have any fights this week, but I am pretty fucking hyped up for the fight nights that we have coming after that. So hopefully we're going to be cooking. So all the smoke here, man. Appreciate y'all a lot. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you all next time.